Welcome to Jobbed Out, the wrestling editorial that reminds you that John Cena is not the only wrestler that you can't see. I like to talk about unique moments in wrestling, one-of-a-kind matches with unique stipulations, so how can I resist talking about this? Set your sights on this one, folks. April 5th, 2019, Game Changer Wrestling presents Joey Janela's Spring Break 3, Part 1, from New Jersey. I've actually mentioned this event once before as Tony Deppen took on Dustin Thomas, at the time known as No Legs by fans. But later on in the show, we would get a truly one-of-a-kind experience. The backstory: the Invisible Man, just as advertised, had become a staple in Joey Janela's Spring Break. You've heard the expression, so good he can wrestle a broom? Well, at least in that scenario, the wrestler has a broom to work with. It came to the shock and dismay of GCW fans when it would be announced on Twitter that Invisible Man had passed away. Or did he? A theory was posed that Man had actually been murdered by his invisible twin brother, Invisible Stan. But just in time for tonight's show, Invisible Man had returned from the dead to seek revenge. This is some South Park WTF level writing right here.
Mother! Why did you abort me? Why?
He's alive! You! Get back in the trash can where you belong!
They are decent wrestlers.
Now I know, it sounds wacky to any wrestling fan, but to devote 10 minutes of an event to a match nobody can see, that requires someone to guide the room. And for that we have to look to referee Bryce Remsburg. Bryce was a mainstay in Chikara wrestling for many years and no stranger to improv comedy. All eyes would literally be on him as he has to ensure every fan in the building plays along. Now here's the fun part for me. I actually got to sit down with Remsburg to go over this match, the background behind it, and really his whole mindset through the thing, so he's going to be popping in with some insight and info to enlighten us.
I said, yeah, that sounds great. And then I realized I didn't have any idea what I was going to do. I agreed to this in principle, but I had no execution or concept.
So after the competitors made their way to the ring, I guess, Remsburg addresses the most obvious concern among fans in the building and at home.
How can I see that no one else can? So I remember talking to Joey an hour before we went out and being like, he was like, well, I'll give you my glasses. Like, yep, that's it. That's the last bit of this. I have bad boy vision. I can see them, and that makes it all make sense in this ridiculous, preposterous ecosystem.
So the bell rings and the two lock up, allegedly, before exchanging quick pinfall attempts.
Exchanging. And they're in a standoff!
And devolving into a slugfest. This may look odd to you in this situation, but watch any other slugfest, you're gonna see the refs signing along with the hits just like this. This is to convey the severity of the impact, to sell how hard the wrestlers are hitting each other. And I'll take this over Kevin Dunn's camera impact shots any day. The two continue to hold no punches as Remsburg makes a judgment call to pause this match due to blood loss.
The fans want to see him continue to fight!
Obviously, the secret sauce in all this is the audience. It's, WrestleMania weekend, it's New York City, it's late at night, they're serving alcohol at the venue, everyone's having a good time and is relatively invested in this ridiculous Invisible Man storyline. So if I had gone out there and I'm doing all this ridiculous Shakespeare pantomiming nonsense and they're just sitting on their hands, we might have gone home pretty quick. It might have been a long 4 or 5 minutes for Bryce. Invisible
Man and Invisible Stan quickly brawl to the outside and were enveloped by a rowdy crowd.
I remember actively recruiting people in the crowd backstage, being like, I need you, I need you, I need you, I need this, and lining, explaining exactly what I wanted to all these people.
After that insane balcony dive, God, what was that, 30 feet? The competitors return to the ring and Invisible Stan gets a near fall. When he doesn't get the 3, Stan shows everybody just what kind of heel he is.
Oh! Took a cheap shot on Remsburg! Attacking the referee, what a low blow!
Even Bryce didn't see that coming. Now if you hadn't noticed, this match, for those who don't have bad boy vision, is less telling of a battle between wrestlers and more of a nod to what referees go through with every match. And at this point, with the ref down, the cavalry arrives to assist Invisible Stan. Of course, the interference backfires, which leads us to our piece de resistance.
Oh! Through the
So that was really the cherry on top. When I got there that day, the GCW props guy was very, very proud of the fact that he had rigged up this door to break on command with a string underneath, and he was very he like came and found me as soon as I got there. He was so excited about this. I was like, well, that's the exclamation point. That's how this all ends.
Remsburg makes the 3 count and raises the invisible hand of the Invisible Man.
But I remember getting to the back and seeing Orange Cassidy in the tunnel because he was about to wrestle Taka Michinoku. That was the match after this. And he was like, thanks a lot, man. And I was like, what? He's like, I don't know how I'm going to follow that.
So yeah, this match was easily GCW's most famous moment to date, and is primed to become the first video on their YouTube channel to hit 1 million views.
It's like, have you checked, Twitter yet? I was like, no, I haven't looked at my phone yet. They're like, you need to get on Twitter right now. And I was like, okay, am I in trouble? I thought I screwed up. The most attention my mentions have ever gotten my entire life. It was just like hundreds and hundreds of just these ridiculous, overly kind things and gifts of things, and and then I went out, I guess maybe it was the next day, to sell merch, and I sold more merch than I've ever sold in my entire life. So I remember coming back to my house after that weekend to explain to my wife how the weekend went, and I started crying because I was just trying to explain to her how well this thing went.
And it's true. If the fans had been out of sync, or quiet, or sat on their hands, or rebelled against this, we would be looking back at this as a failed experiment. But since everybody in that room was on board and embraced the show that was in front of them, it's remembered fondly as a fantastic wrestling match that had no wrestlers involved. Well, except Kikutaro, but that doesn't count.
There was a version of this where Kikutaro and I were going to wrestle in New York City a couple months after this. I was going to have a match with Kikutaro. And then he had some visa troubles, and then I got signed to AEW, and it never ended up happening. But I had never had an actual wrestling match, like a straight up one-on-one wrestling match, and I was, at that point, 35 or 36 years old, and a father of one. It's like, when am I ever going to do this? And Kikutaro seems like a guy who wasn't going to hurt me or drop me on my head or whatever. So this seems like a fun idea. I could do something with it.
So I want to give a special thanks to Bryce Remsburg for taking time out of his busy schedule to sit with me and talk about this awesome moment in his career. As a bonus, I am going to be releasing the full chat on this channel as well, so be sure to check it out and throw him some love. You can find Bryce on Twitter at @TheBryceIsRight. Now with that said, this one's going to be polarizing, but what do you think about the Invisible Man versus the Invisible Stan? Are you a wrestling traditionalist who sees this as more of a comedy thing that hurts the business? Or is kayfabe alive and well in your eyes so you can sit back and enjoy this show? And where do you stand on comedy and wrestling? Should the program always be serious? Or is there room for some things that could make you laugh or think or go, what the hell was that? Let me know what you think in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more, because I want you to be a part of this conversation too. For now though, I better get my shoulders off the mat, so I want to thank you for tuning in to Jobbed Out. I'll catch you next time.